Imagine if I told you that right now, yes, right now, billions of tiny electrical signals are firing inside your head, helping you see, hear, think, breathe, blink, and even understand what I'm saying. That's not science fiction. That's your central nervous system. And before we start, let me introduce myself properly. We don't cram, we comprehend. I'm Lowell. And today, we're breaking down the central nervous system in a way that actually makes sense. We're going to explore its structure, how it works, how it develops, and what happens when it gets damaged. By the end of this video, you won't just memorize the parts for a test. You'll actually understand what's happening inside your body every step. So let's start. So what exactly is the central nervous system? The CNS, or central nervous system, is the control and processing center of your entire body. It has two main parts, the brain and the spinal cord. Think of it like this. The brain is the CEO, the spinal cord is the main communication highway. Every message, whether it's pain, temperature, movement, or emotion, travels through this system. Right now, your CNS is controlling your breathing, regulating your heartbeat, helping you focus, processing the sound of my voice. And here's the crazy part. You're not consciously telling it to do most of that. If the CNS shuts down, the body cannot respond to the world. That's how powerful it is. There are three main functions of the CNS: sensation, integration, and response. Let's make this real. Imagine you accidentally touch a hot stove. First, sensation. Your skin detects heat and pain. The signal travels to your brain. Second, integration. Your brain analyzes the information and recognizes danger. Third, response. Your brain sends a signal back through your spinal cord to your muscles, and you pull your hand away instantly. That entire process happens in less than a second. Pause and think about that. Every movement you make follows same three steps from the system. Sense it, process it, and react to it. Simple concept, powerful system. Let's travel to the brain. Now let's talk about the boss, our brains. It weighs about 3 pounds, but it controls your entire life. It contains around 100 billion neurons sending electrical signals every second. Ever wonder why some people love math and other people love art? That's partly because of the two hemispheres of the brain. The left hemisphere is more involved in logic, language, and mathematics. The right hemisphere is more involved in creativity, music, and imagination. But here's something important. They constantly communicate through a structure called the corpus callosum. So when you solve a math problem and explain it out loud, both sides are working together. Your brain is not divided. It is coordinated. So how do we protect our boss? The brain. So protection of the brain. Now let me ask you something. If your brain controls everything, how does your body protect it? First, the skull, a hard bone shield. Second, 3 protective layers called meninges. The dura mater, thick and tough. The arachnoid membrane, web-like and delicate. The pia mater contains blood vessels that nourish the brain. Third, the cerebrospinal fluid surrounds the brain like a water cushion. Jump, it absorbs shock. Fall, it protects tissue. And then, there's the blood-brain barrier, basically a VIP security guard. It blocks harmful substances from entering the brain. Your body does not play around when it comes to brain protection. Now, let's zoom into the cerebral cortex, the outer layer of your brain. This is where all the high-level thinking happens. It's what you're doing now. It's divided into 4 lobes: frontal lobe, parietal lobe, occipital lobe, and temporal lobe. First, the frontal lobe, your decision maker. It plans, solves problems, controls voluntary movement, and even helps you speak through the Broca area. So when you raise your hand or solve a tricky math problem, this lobe is in charge. Next, the parietal lobe, your sensory mind. It processes touch, temperature, and pain. Feeling your phone buzz in your pocket? That's your parietal lobe detecting it. Third, occipital lobe, the visual center. Everything you see right now is interpreted here. Close your eyes for a second. Your occipital lobe, just pause. Fourth, the temporal lobe, your auditory hub. It helps you process sounds and understand language through the vernacular area. That's why you can follow what I'm saying right now. These lobes may specialize, but they work as a team. It's like a well-run orchestra. Each part has a role, but together, they create harmony. Deep inside your brain, there are control centers you don't usually think about. The thalamus, hypothalamus, basal ganglia, limbic system, reticular formation. The thalamus acts like a post office, directing sensory signals to the right brain area. Second, hypothalamus, the body's thermostat and life manager. It controls hunger, thirst, temperature, heart rate, and hormones. Feeling sleepy or hungry? Think your hypothalamus. Third, the basal ganglia coordinates movement. Without it, even picking up a cup would be clumsy. Now, fourth, the limbic system, the emotional memory center. Smell of perfume and suddenly remember summer vacation or someone? That's your limbic system at work. Fifth, the reticular formation. Keeps you awake and alert. Feeling drowsy after a long video? That's your reticular formation slowing down. These structures quietly keep your body stable, alert, and alive, even if you're not thinking about it. Now, for our cerebellum, also called the little brain, tucked under your cerebrum. It controls balance, posture, and coordination. Try this. Stand up and lift one foot off the ground. Now balance. That's your cerebellum helping you. It communicates with your motor cortex to ensure movements are smooth, not jerky. Without it, walking, riding, or playing would be nearly impossible. Now, the brainstem. The brainstem is your body's life support hub. It connects the brain to the spinal cord and manages automatic functions you don't even think about. Breathing, heartbeat, blood pressure, swallowing, and coughing. Even if a person is unconscious, the brainstem continues these vital functions. The brainstem is divided into three main parts: the midbrain, the pons, and the medulla oblongata. First, we have the midbrain. The midbrain helps conduct nerve impulses between parts of the brain and the spinal cord. It also controls certain eye reflexes. Next is the pons. The pons acts like a message relay station between different parts of the brain. It also helps regulate reflex activities such as chewing and saliva production, which are important for digestion. Finally, we have the medulla oblongata, which is one of the most critical structures for life. The medulla controls many automatic functions that keep you alive, including heart rate, breathing, blood pressure, swallowing, coughing, and even vomiting. Now, let's move on to the second part of our central nervous system, our spinal cord. Think of the spinal cord as a superhighway for nerve signals. It carries sensory information up to the brain and motor commands down to the body. It also controls reflexes. For example, when a doctor taps your knee and your leg kicks automatically, that's a spinal reflex. The brain isn't even involved. This allows your body to react faster than thinking. That would allow life-saving emergencies. Now, let's move on to the spinal cord segments and pathways. The spinal cord is divided into 31 segments, forming 31 pairs of spinal nerves. 8 cervical, 12 thoracic, 5 lumbar, 5 sacral, and 1 coccygeal. Sensory signals travel upward through ascending pathways to your brain. Motor commands travel downward through descending pathways. This organized structure ensures precise communication between your brain and your body. Every step, gesture, and touch relies on this network. Now, let's move on to the embryological development of the CNS or the central nervous system. Let's take a quick time machine to when you were an embryo. Around the third week of development, a thickened layer of the octoderm forms the neutral plate, which fold into the neural tube. The front of this tube becomes the brain. The back of the tube becomes the spinal cord. The brain further develops into a forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain, which later form structures like the cerebrum, cerebellum, thalamus, and medulla oblongata. Disruptions can cause serious birth defects, showing how critical early CNS development is. Now, let's move to the blood supply of our central nervous system. The brain is extremely sensitive to oxygen. Without blood for just a few minutes, brain cells begin to die. Carotid and vertebral arteries supply oxygenated blood. The vertebral arteries merge to form the basilar artery. The circle of Willis is a safety system that ensures continuous blood flow even if one artery is blocked. Think about it. Every time your heart pumps, it's feeding your 100 billion neurons. Now let's get real. What happens if the CNS is damaged?
Oh no!
First, Alzheimer's disease. Memory loss due to the neuron degeneration. Number 2, Parkinson's disease. Tremors and stiffness from loss of dopamine-producing neurons. Number 3, multiple sclerosis. Myelin damage disrupting signal transmission. Number 4, stroke, when blood supply stops to the part of the brain. Number 5, spinal cord injuries can cause paralysis. These conditions reminds us that the CNS is delicate but incredibly vital. To conclude, the central nervous system is the master control system of the body. It allows you to think, move, feel, breathe, remember, and survive. Every blink, every heartbeat, every thought, all controlled by the incredible system. So next time you solve a problem, feel an emotion, or take a deep breath, remember what's working behind the scene. And remember, we don't cram, we comprehend. I'm Lowell. See you in the next STEM breakdown. To learn about the next part of the nervous system, click LINNAEUS video about the peripheral nervous system.